Hey everybody, welcome to the Octagon channel. Today we will tell you about the loud statements and reckless actions of fighters from the world of MMA. And here we go. Khabib Nurmagomedov made a rather bold, though far from meaningless statement about the superiority of MMA fighters from Dagestan over all others. More precisely, first of all, he compared the Dagestanis to athletes from Ireland. You can say whatever you want, but if you look at the facts, you can't compare Irish fighters with fighters from Dagestan. We dominate in amateur MMA. Not only Irish fighters, but the whole world is nowhere near us. I am absolutely sure that if we organized a team fight, Dagestan would beat the world team in amateur MMA. And when it comes to professional MMA, we have champions, challengers, and ranked fighters in every major league. Show me the Irish fighters who are currently title challengers in the top 3 MMA promotions. At best, you will be able to name 1 or 2 fighters. The facts speak for themselves. The first to react to those words was Irish PFL lightweight Paul Hughes, who is set to fight Usman Nurmagomedov, Khabib's third cousin, on January 25th. Bro, you're first in doping use, Hughes wrote on social media, attaching a photo of an ESPN headline about a failed doping test on Usman Nurmagomedov, Khabib's cousin. And of course, Khabib's statement could not pass by his former rival and main enemy. Not only during his career in the UFC, but until now, Conor McGregor. You assholes don't stand still. That said, you still have nothing. You're vile, look at you now. You deserve exactly what is coming your way, which is nothing. You're bums and traitors. We call you yellowtooths. Brains the size of peas in a cage. No artistry. Creativity is crap. Your arsenal is farts. Shame on you, McGregor wrote on his social media and later deleted the post. If Conor's harsh reaction to Nurmagomedov's words is logical and predictable, the response to Khabib from another UFC veteran, Tony Ferguson, seems a bit surprising. The 40-year-old veteran from the United States has his own history with the Dagestani, and a rather eventful one at that. When both were still in the UFC, Nurmagomedov and Ferguson tried to organize a fight 5 times, but each time something prevented it, and in the end, the principled rivals never fought. However, that story essentially ended back in 2020, and Tony has since managed to lose 8 straight, becoming the league record holder for that sad statistic, while Khabib ended his career at the end of that year. And so it's particularly surprising to see Ferguson continue to try to hurt Nurmagomedov with social media statements like this one. Fresh. Shut up, dumbass. You're still my bitch. You fought in 2-round professional fights before the UFC. It's easy to talk when you're not performing. Once a coward, always a coward. 29-1 inch. It seems that Nurmagomedov has long ago learned to take the outbursts from McGregor and Ferguson without much emotion. The former he managed to defeat in the Octagon, the legendary fight in October 2018, which ended with the victory of the Russian by choke. And to date, few people take the latter seriously at all. Tony's reputation has suffered too much in the last 4 years. As for Paul Hughes, he can be avenged in 3 weeks by the hands of his younger cousin Usman Nurmagomedov. In the published photo, Usman is holding a machine gun. "See you soon, kid," the Russian signed the photo, addressing Hughes. Usman Nurmagomedov held 18 fights in MMA and won 18 victories. On the account of Paul Hughes, 17 wins in 19 fights. Russia ended 2024 in first place in terms of the number of champions in the world's leading MMA leagues. Russian fighters hold belts in 9 divisions in the UFC, PFL, Bellator 1, and Rizin promotions. The champions of their weight classes are Denis Goltsov, Anatoly Malikin, 2 belts, Ramazan Kuramagomedov, Shamil Musayev, Islam Makhachev, Usman Nurmagomedov, Gazi Rabadanov, and Timur Khizriev. Russia is ahead of the USA, 7 champions, and Brazil, 5. The top of the most successful countries in MMA also includes Japan with 3 champions. UFC commentator Joe Rogan has added fuel to the hype surrounding the fight between heavyweights Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. Earlier, UFC head Dana White promised that the fight would 100% happen and called the upcoming bout the biggest fight in the history of the heavyweight division. On an edition of his Joe Rogan Experience podcast, Rogan revealed the estimated amount Jones, the UFC's outright heavyweight champion, wants for stepping into the Octagon against Aspinall, who holds the interim title. I think they're trying to come to some kind of agreement. There are rumors that he wants $30 million, which hopefully the UFC will pay. I hope they pay it. American UFC fighter Grant Dawson, 24, shared his opinion on how to defeat UFC lightweight champion Russian Islam Makhachev, 26-1. As a possible opponent for Makhachev, what keys do you see to defeating Islam? I think the main thing is that he doesn't make you retreat, stare back. Of course, it is easier said than done. Makhachev's biggest flaw is his huge weight race. He races too much weight before fights, and I don't think Islam is doing it right. Sure, Makhachev is terrific, but if you start stepping on him, attacking his body, you know what separates me from other fighters? If I'm on top of Islam for a second, I'm gonna finish this round on top. And the whole round, I'm gonna be trying to choke him out. As long as he's on the bottom, the score's in my favor. The main thing is to not back up against the cage. Be ready to fight and be the first to engage. That's also how you could beat Khabib. Just start fighting first, Dawson said in an interview with Inside Fighting. Islam Makhachev will fight for the UFC lightweight title on January 19th against Russian Arman Tsarukyan at UFC 311 in Los Angeles, USA. Former UFC fighter Matt Hamill, 48, published a social media post in which he shared the good news with his followers. I just received the most powerful digital hearing aids ever. For the first time in 40+ years, I can hear the sounds of footsteps, people laughing, and my children's voices. I finally heard my mom's voice and she was crying. I look forward to hearing my brother Pat's voice. Just hope he doesn't roar like a foghorn. It's awesome, though I know it will take me a while to adapt to everything, Hamill wrote on social media. As a reminder, in his most memorable fight, Hamill defeated current UFC heavyweight title holder Jon Jones on December 5th, 2009. Matt won as a result of Jon landing a banned elbow strike. Former UFC middleweight champion Luke Rockhold favors Jamahal Hill in his fight against Jiří Procházka, which will take place on January 18th at UFC 311. A key component to determining success in that fight, according to Rockhold, will be the psychological state of the fighters. Jiří has something incomprehensible going on with his head, the former champion said. In the fight against Alex Pereira, he was not like himself at all. He understood what he had to do, but he came out and started fighting blind. I didn't like the way he looked in that last fight. It just didn't look like he was following the fight plan at all. Jamahal Hill is more dangerous, Rockhold added. He's strong, sharp, and always set up for an early win. And he usually ends up finding an opportunity to land a punch that will be his opponent's last. Although they're both coming off tough losses, they're both in the recovery process, so nothing can be said for sure. But from what I've seen in their last few fights, I favor Jamahal.